again. How are you? Hi. This month's set of nails are fried eggs. No, fried eggs or whatever. Cute. Outfit, jewelry, my tea. If you hear howling, just know it's my dog. He's fine. He's enjoying the weather. He might be a little upset that he's outside and I'm inside and he's not. So if he interrupts, just know he's fine. Perfectly fine. Just in his feelings as always. Anyway, as you can tell by the title, this short rant, because I'm going to try to keep it short, is about What a Way to Go, the movie. Because I think it deserves to be in the list of classics, but most people don't even know that the movie exists. And I've always wondered why. Because it doesn't make sense to me. I would think that this film, with its costumes, with its actors, with its comedy, that's the word I'm looking for, would be one of the greats of the film industry, and yet most people never heard of it until recently, because it's been going viral because of Sabrina Carpenter, but we'll get into that later. It's just, let's break it down because this is a fantastic movie, and if you haven't seen it, click off of this and go watch it yourself and then come back to this, because I'm not going to do it justice. Not other people are going to do justice. You just have to watch the film for yourself. Okay. I'm watching you. Okay, I don't even know why you stick around this much. You honestly need to leave me alone. We're back with the notebook covered in stickers. We are set. We are good to go. And I'm in a comfortable little crisscross applesauce position, whatever. We're good, you know. My jewelry's like all tangled. It's fine. What a way to go, you know. It is starring some massive names. Let's just start off with the cast of this movie. Our main character is Louisa May Foster. That's how she starts out, okay? She is played by Shirley MacLaine, a renowned actress, phenomenal. A lot of people nowadays don't know that much about her, but if you know, you know. And that's because you want to watch decent films, and I appreciate that. She's also known for being in The Apartment with John Lemmon. Jack Lemmon. I don't know what his name is. Anyway, they're known for being in that same movie. That is next. Not next, but it's down the line of my topics, because it's a great film and I highly recommend it. Anyway, this is What a Way to Go. Shirley MacLaine, Robert Mitchum, Paul Newman, Gene Kelly, Dick Van Dyke, Dean Martin, and more people, okay? A lot of big names are in this movie while they were big names. Not even like before they became who they became, but just like they were big names when this movie came out. I mean, obviously. It's directed by J. Lee Thompson. Thopson. I wrote that down and I didn't look at how you pronounce it. My bad. And the costumes are designed by Edith Head. Obviously, world-renowned costume and just fashion person, director, creator. She's amazing, renowned for her skills and her creativity. All of Shirley MacLaine's costumes in the movie are made by her, obviously. but also the other characters. It's just, I mean, if I broke down every single piece that was worn in the film, we would be sitting here for 33 hours. And I don't want to be sitting here for 33 hours. I'm trying to keep this short because my other videos are not short. And I'm tired of editing those long videos because it's me doing all the work and not you. So, it's all right. Just, break it down in your head mentally break it down and talk with me about it in the comments. We'll be all right. Okay. So the film is split into different sections. And it follows Louisa May Foster as she travels through life, basically. It starts when she's young, and it ends when she has her kids, basically. Not being like that's the end of her life, because obviously that's not true. She goes on to live a very full life, I assume, based off of how they wrote the film. I don't know if this was originally a play. I don't know. I didn't look that up. But let me look that up. Pause. I have to cut this. Okay, no, it doesn't. It doesn't seem. It seems like they just wrote it for this movie, and that was it. It wasn't a book. It wasn't a play. Okay. So this film, as I said, it follows Louisa as she journeys, and her mother is obsessed with money. She wants her daughter to marry into money. Basically, she wants her daughter to marry the Crowleys, which are the richest family in their town, which is like Crowleyville. And Louisa doesn't want that. She wants a simple life. Honest to goodness, work hard for what you have, simplicity. That's what she wants. Her mom doesn't. And Crowley, who she's dating, or who's courting her, because that's the terminology you use at the time, he is only interested because like she's the most beautiful in town or whatever, and she's like, I don't want it. They run into a man whose last name is Hopper. I don't remember his first name, but he's played by Dick Van Dyke, and he is lazy, basically, and has no ambition. He owns a business, but he doesn't really open it, so it doesn't make any money, and he reads Thoreau. If you haven't read Thoreau, you should go read Thoreau, because he's a really great, just great read. I've read it, okay? Okay, thank you. Anyway, off my topic. She meets him, and she's like, yeah, I like him, because he's simple life, small place, small, dilapidated, completely opposite of what my mother wants for me. Keep that in mind. And she goes off. They have like a little whirlwind romance. She marries him. Her mother has a heart attack or whatever. She doesn't, but disapproves. And she moves in with him in his little shack off by the lake. Kind of like Thoreau, because he's like inspired by Thoreau or whatever. Anyway, and Crowley is bitter because he's used to winning at everything, so he expected to get the girl, only the girl didn't want him, so he didn't get the girl because, even though this is old, it's set and pretty, it's like, hey, women can make their own decisions, obviously. And Crowley doesn't really think that, because he just thinks the world revolves around him because he's the richest in town. In each of the sequences of this movie, you notice that she relates something to a type of film, and this point in time she relates this section of her life, her marriage to Hopper. She relates it to a silent film, and it's so funny. And then, okay, fast forward. I'm just doing a quick synopsis because we're gonna get through this, okay? Hopper overworks himself. Sadly, he passes away. She gets a ton of money from that because, as I said, go watch the movie. But he goes and like gets upset because Crowley's doing better than him, but she picked him over Crowley, and he wants to be better than Crowley. So he goes and like makes his business the best in the town, buys out Crowley, sends them packing, right? And then he overworks himself. She has a ton of money. She flies to Paris. And she's just like, she's trying to visit all the sites, you know, trying to get her mind off the fact that she's now alone and whatever. She meets a guy. He's an artist. His last name is Flint. I don't remember their first names. Okay, I just remember the last name. Because as the movie goes along, her last name gets longer and longer. So now her last name is her name is Louisa May Foster Hopper, okay? And then it becomes Flint because she marries the artist dude because he's like, I don't believe in modern things like that. He's like, I don't sell my paintings and I don't blah, 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 you know? It's like, the greats aren't great. I don't really like his character because I don't appreciate an artist who can't appreciate the greats. It's like, there's somebody who came before us for a reason so that we learn from them and we can also try to become better than them at the end of the day, you know? And him being like, they're trash, their art is not art, you know, whatever. It's like, grates on my nerves because I've met people like that and I really don't enjoy them. I really, 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 really don't. I don't because you have to appreciate what came before you can appreciate what you're doing. That's my own personal opinion. A side tangent, if you will. Anyway, she marries him. They live their own thing. She equates this time to a romantic French film. A romantic French film, yeah. He also becomes rich because she suggests, like, he builds like these machines that paint to sounds. So he usually just makes like weird random noises and the paintings are horribly ugly. And then she's like, why don't you put it to music? And then he puts it to music and it's like really great. And she's like, oh, that's nice. And then he sells one for some pretty good money. And she's like, oh no, you know, because she doesn't want what happened to Hopper to happen again. Because she wants that simple life, remember? The simple life. Things that are opposite of what her mother wanted for her. And it doesn't really pan out the first time. So she wants it to pan out the second time. And it doesn't really pan out the second time because next thing you know, he's massively famous because his paintings are like to renowned musicians and composers. Their works are now being painted and it's like, whoa, that's amazing. You know, he becomes famous. And her outfits during this time are some of the best in the movie, in my opinion. They're very avant-garde. They're very different. They have faces on them, and they're structurally like amazing. Like a lot of people will say that the next section is some of the best work, and I have to agree, it is some of the best. But in my personal favorites are in this section when she's married to Flint. I think that they're just so fascinating to me. I also really like her outfits during the time that she is married to Hopper because they kind of reflect that just transitioning into money kind of stage. By the time she gets to the what's his name? Anderson, who comes after Flint, she is accustomed to the richness of life already. Like she knows what rich do already. So she doesn't really like adventure into things. Like it has great costumes. Like those are some of the best costumes I have ever seen in film and in the film industry in its entirety. Like ever. And I've seen a lot of movies. And What a Way to Go has some of the best costumes I have ever seen in a movie. I just think this one section is my favorite. It's my favorite, okay? But the next section with Anderson are the best in the movie. That's what I'm saying, okay? That's what I'm saying. Anyway, he dies, unfortunately. And she's trying to book it out of France at that point because her second husband is now gone, and she blames herself because she suggested the idea the first time. So she's like, I ruined find him, you know, whatever. And she misses her plane. And while she's at the runway, she runs into this dude. Last name is Anderson. So now her last name is Louisa May Foster Hopper Flynn. And it now becomes Anderson is added on as well. Because she marries him. He's like a playboy rich man, okay? He's already a multi-millionaire, right? Makes a ton of money. And she's like, I've heard a lot about him. I don't really like him that much. Then she decides that she likes him, and they get married, you know, have a little whirlwind relationship. And this point in the time is, she equates it to one of the vintage golden era Hollywood films, you know. So think of the time of like, I don't know, Bing Crosby and you know, I can't think of people's names. Anyway, but like Bing Crosby and White Christmas, like that what will she wear next kind of vibe, because everything, every cut, she's in a different look, and it's new and it's amazing. It's like, whoa, I am shocked by this. Like the artistry of these costumes are amazing, and they are. Now, let's talk about this section. Let's break it down. Okay, this section. Recently, Sabrina Carpenter went on the red carpet. I can't remember what award it was for. Grammys, I think. Anyway, it was the blue one with the open back, and it had the jewel pendant that came down to the back. Okay, that was a reference to What a Way to Go, one of the costumes by Edith Head. In this segment of the movie, she's sitting there, she's wearing a white silk gown. I think it is probably silk. I mean, it could have been like a satin, but I assume that because it was probably a high budget film, it was probably silk. Silk gown, has a giant jewel. You can't really tell if there's like a neck to it because you just see her back, and it's like, it's risque for the time because it drops so low, and there's like no neck except, you know, it has a little halter because obviously the jewel has to hang from something. Yeah. And it's amazing. Sabrina did it in blue. I would have preferred to see it in white like in the original, but it is a reference, and it doesn't have to, it's not a replica, it's a reference. There's a difference. References, for those who don't understand what I say, when we reference a work, it means you just put little bits of what it was in your work, and you're like, yeah, I was inspired by blah at this point in time. A replica is when you're trying to imitate that work word for word, stitch for stitch. You know, if it's over here, it's over here. It's a replica. Like you would say, my hands and my jewelry are replicas because I like to match. Like my jewelry is symmetrical because I need it to be, because it's a personal journey. Anyway, I needed to match. But let's say I took this ring off, and I was inspired by my right hand here and the work that my right hand did. So with my left hand, I just did a little bit of something different, you know. That would be a reference. Sabrina was referencing. She was not trying to do what Kim Kardashian did and replicate. Okay, now that we cleared that up, let's move on. So, she's married to Anderson. She's having this amazing like billionaire's love story or whatever, and he gets a call. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, and it's like, yeah, really? Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. His business profits have gone up significantly, and he is offended because he's the only person who is allowed to make his business prosper or decline. And somebody is doing his job for him, which means that person gotta go because he has some not so great traits, but I mean, whatever. He's rich, and she's happy, and that's how the film portrays it. You don't really get much into these characters because they die off so quickly in the film. That's the whole point. It's like they're there, they're like cameos of famous people, and then they're gone, and that's it. You just move on. So there's not really any time for you to connect to him as a character in the film, and I kind of appreciate that because that also means that there wasn't really that much time for her to connect to them as well, because she's kind of moving in our timeline, even though there's an implied time, but at the same time, there's not. It's a film. They're not real. Anyway, so he goes off, and before he doesn't go off. He wants to go and fix his business, as he would say, but she doesn't want that to happen because she wants the simple life, and she wants what was opposite of what her mother suggested. And so she's like, we should move out to a farm, basically manipulates him into moving out to a farm. And he thinks that's a great idea. And they move out to a farm, and she has her simple life that she wanted until he is kicked by a cow. And that's how he goes, It's like, what a way to go, What I don't know. Anyway, and she makes a lot of money because remember I said he was a multimillionaire who got richer, and then he liquidated all his stuff, so he just has a ton of liquid assets, which just means money, 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 money. And she's super, 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 super rich at this point. And then she drives off into whatever because she's trying to find herself. She just lost her other husband, and now her last name is extended another page, and she's not, another name, and she's not married. Her full name is now Louisa May Foster Hopper Flint Anderson, and now it's about to become Benson, okay? This Benson is played by Gene Kelly. His name is Pinky Benson. He's the only guy that I really remember because it was just so funny. So funny. Not in like I was laughing out loud, but as I remember it back on it, I'm just like, that is so strange, It's like, it was so funny. Pinky Benson is a performer, and we learned that he's been performing at the same place for 14 years. We learn a bit more about his character. We have time to connect with him more as a character than the others. Like, oh, he's really down to earth. He's the artistic type of performer, but he's satisfied in his head, he says it, with the simple life. He doesn't want to go to the big times. And she's like, this is perfect. This is perfect. He reminds her of Hopper before Hopper became the multimillionaire business mogul that he became. Hopper and and Pinky are like the same person, but different career paths and whatever. And so she gets married to him. He's a terrible performer. Like, he dresses up like a clown, and he sings and rhymes, and nobody pays attention to him when he's doing stuff, which is why the restaurant has kept him on for 14 years, because he doesn't distract their business from buying things. So it's just like, yeah, instead of getting a performer who will distract the customer and they won't buy more food or drink more alcohol, might as well just get a guy who we can pay a couple bucks. He's satisfied with the work he does, and we don't lose any money to him. So he's been there for 14 years, and if everybody's happy, everybody's happy. She gets married to him, and then one of the days that they're trying to get ready for his birthday party, Pinky's birthday party, he doesn't have enough time to do his full clown garb because it takes him 2 hours. They stress that in the beginning. It takes him 2 hours. Well, when we first meet him, not in the beginning of the film. When we first meet him, it takes him 2 hours to get fully ready to go on stage in this ridiculous costume. And Louisa's like, you don't have enough time, just go out there as you are, it'll be great. She's like, nobody pays attention to you anyway, blah, 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 you know. She doesn't even pay attention to him. Like, it's cool, but she loves him, but it's okay. Anyway, well, she loves him? I don't know if she loves her character. We'll get into that later. Anyway, she doesn't pay attention. He goes out there, he like steals the show. Because people pay attention to a regularly dressed guy who's singing more than a childish clown dude who's like jumping around stage and whatever. And then he does this little dance scene and it's like, oh, wow. And everybody's like, woo, big job. And she's like, I've done it again, you know. And then he becomes a massive movie star, has super great films, all the fans love him. At this stage, she doesn't have too many outfit changes, but she equates this time of her marriage to an old Hollywood musical. Think Fred Astaire and Ginger Ginger Rogers. Think of them when you think of like the tap dancing, the singing, and all of that I do not enjoy and have not seen a lot of. Like, I have seen Holiday Inn, which has Fred Astaire. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And it's fine, I guess. I mean, I only watch it during Christmas time because I don't like musicals. And Fred Astaire is almost entirely in musicals, so I just like, whatever. Guess I don't watch your full, like, I can't think of the word. But anyway, old Hollywood musical, which makes sense because it's like Gene Kelly is kind of connected to some musicals as well. And she doesn't really do musicals, like, ever. I don't even know if she was actually singing in that time or if she was just mouthing it. I've never heard her sing, but I've also only seen 2 of her movies, which is The Apartment and What a Way to Go, so you can't base her whole can't think of the word when demography, what's the word? Anyway, off of what I'm saying because I've only seen 2 of her films. Though I plan on watching more, but this is a tangent and I'm off topic. So, Pinky gets massive, hit all of he's fans, you know, whatever. They have a big house. Then he paints his entire house pink. Like, the pool's pink, the flamingos are pink, the lanterns are pink, the walls are pink. It's a pink palace because it's pink, and he wants everybody to know that it's his house. The moment that they walk or see it or drive by, you know, it's pink. And yeah, in this part of the film you see 3 of really, really great looks. One is towards the end, right before Pinky dies. Shirley MacLaine comes dressed in a full pink mink coat. I assume that it's mink because that's what they used a lot of the time, but it could have been another fabric or another fur. And it was most definitely real. Anyway, full pink mink coat, beautifully dyed work. It is stunning, and matching pink hair, whatever, because, you know, it's Pinky, so she's like supporting her husband, so she's decked out in pink, whatever. And then you have 2 swim looks that are so cute that I'm using as inspiration for some swimwear that I'm making because I think we're going to the lake over spring break, but that's my own personal business. Anyway, and then Pinky is trampled by fans, and that's how he goes, you know. And then she's rich, and the beginning of this movie begins when she's trying to give away all her money to the government. Over $200 million. She's trying to give it to the government, and they send her to a psychiatric dude, as a psychologist. That's what I'm looking for, a psychologist, because who wants to give away over $200 million to the government when the government is not trying to actively take away that money? And he's confused, so she's telling him her story. All of this is from her perspective to the psychiatric or the psychologist. That's what I'm. Oh my gosh, the psychologist, and he just like keeps losing it because it's fanciful. It's fantasy. I can't speak today. It's like out of a fantasy. It's beyond imagination. I'm just gonna use all the descriptions for the words that I cannot think of at this current moment. That's what I'm gonna do. And he asked her to marry her, and she's like, no. He passes out, falls on the ground, whatever, and she's panicking. And there's like this whole little sequence, blah, 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 blah. You watch the film, okay? I'm not describing the entire film word scene for scene. This is not the place, not the time, not the place. And in walks a man we have not seen since the beginning of the film. Crowley. He is now the janitor, or as she would say, the custodian. And they get married. You know, we have about 5 minutes left in the film, or okay, probably less, probably like 3 minutes left in the film. And fast forward, time jump, and she has kids. They live out on the farm. We see Crowley. He's like out not mowing. He's on the tractor plowing, and he is reading Thoreau because at the beginning, Hopper suggested that he read some Thoreau, but he's like, I need to read Thoreau, whatever. So now he's reading Thoreau as he plows the fields, and then he hits oil. And it turns out it's not like because they hit oil, but because they hit a pipeline, and so there's a ton of oil. And it's so funny because for a split second she thought it was gonna happen again, but it doesn't. And she's okay. And that's how the movie ends. So let's break it down. This film is one of the first movies I can think of when it comes to parodies, right? A parody is I swear I cannot think today. A parody is a reflection and is a comedic response to what we've already seen. Right? So when we think of parodies, we think of like the scary movie, those ones, or superhero movie with Drake Bell, or the Starving Games. That one's not very good, but it was pretty funny in my opinion. Anyway, I like parodies. They made me cackle. And most of the time, the thing is, I don't like the original movies that they were based off of. Like how the scary movie was like kind of intertwined with what am I saying? What am I thinking? Oh, it's over for me. I can't. I don't know. What's the one with the ghost dude who comes in? Scream. That's it. Scream. The Scream industry. Because it was basically industry at this time. I'm not the biggest fan of the Scream movies. The first and second one were pretty good, in my opinion, but the rest of them after that, yeah, not the biggest fan, you know. So I like the parodies because they reference the earlier ones more than they do the newer ones, even though they do reference the newer ones. And then you have like the Starving Games, which was based off of that. Well, it's a parody of the Hunger Games, and I'm just gonna say, like, yeah, you know, that's how I feel about the Hunger Games. Basically, he's just like, My friends and my brother and my sister are all obsessed with the Hunger Games, and I just never got into it. You know, it just wasn't my type of film. And it's like, oh, because you like those romantic comedies, just because let me say this. Just because, listen to me. Listen to my words. Just because I do a lot of talking about, I've done 3 at this time, of romantic comedies. Look, you can see my reflection. Anyway, romantic comedies, I'm gonna take it off because that's distracting me. On this channel does not mean that is what I watch in its in entirety. Okay, like my favorite genre, horror movies. Actually, yeah, horror movies. I really enjoy them. They are, I think, a great reflection of what we can become as humans, and they are fun for me to watch, and they don't really scare me. So it's like I don't have the fear factor of not wanting to watch them. So it's just a good movie, and I turn out to really like the jump scares are funny, and a lot of the times I just laugh at how like they look. But anyway, I'm gonna get into horror movies later. Like Silence of the Lambs, my favorite horror movie of all time is Silence of the Lambs. It's so good. And of course you have other classics. I love the Carries. My favorite ones are the first one and the last one, actually. But the first one is obviously the best one in my opinion. But that's off topic. I will be getting into the Silence of the Lambs and all of the Carries eventually. That's on my massive list of to do. But going back to this film. So this is a parody. And I think that's probably why it didn't pick up so well. It has a 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe. So it's not highly. Oh, I didn't write it down. I felt like I did. Oh yeah, I did. With 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was first released in 1964, Pretty old in my opinion. Pretty old. Little, almost 60-something years old? 62? I don't know, I'm not doing the math. Anyway, it's parody. And I think it's one of the earliest parodies I've ever seen. And I think it's brilliant. Referencing some of the movies that are really, really not big at that time, and the actors who are big at that time, using them in the film is just a great way, because I think this movie really paved the way for the parody genre, because it is its own separate genre. I'm losing my voice for some reason. Probably because I've been yapping too much. I'm literally losing my voice. Let's just get through this before I actually lose my voice, and then we'll both be in trouble. Because then I'll be like, I didn't get to finish. Anyway, it paved the way for the parody genre because it did something that was not really done at that time, with actors who have already made names for themselves. So it's not like they needed a push in the industry. So I think this movie, in my opinion, was done for the heck of it. It's a great plot, like a fantastic plot, and the actors and actresses in the movie do a great job portraying their character without us becoming too attached to characters that would be gone in an instant. It was really nice to see some of the old names, and be like, oh, this is great, when they're at the best of their best, like Dick Van Dyke is known for like Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and stuff like that. Well, those are the ones that I know him from. Okay, let's be so for real. I have not watched more than that. I know he's in a lot more than that, but I've only seen him in those ones, if I'm being completely honest. And Gene Kelly is known for every old Hollywood romance. I have my own personal beefs with Gene Kelly, and some of the ways that he later conducted himself, and probably at this time conducted himself as well, and how he with the movies and stuff. But that's neither here nor there. And then Shirley MacLaine, obviously, is a fantastic actress, and I think that she's not as recognized because she was seen as too promiscuous. Okay. In all of her movies, in in the 2 movies I've seen and the 1 trailer I've seen for another movie of hers that I want to watch, that I can't think the name of, she is the sexy lady, the woman on the side, the woman who gets married a lot, which is taboo, you know, which, well, not taboo, but was taboo. The exotic one that men are always chasing because, you know, she just displays everything. And so she didn't really connect with the more conservative, not in the political stance, but in the how we dress and what we show to public stance. She didn't really connect with them because she was displayed as promiscuous, okay? Quotation marks, she's not. She's acting like a regular human being, in my opinion. And it disconnects with the people of the 60s and the 40s, and well, not the 40s, that's way too old. The 50s and that time, it's like, whoa, girl, you're doing a bit much for what we showing your back. Scandalous, you know? And it's not, obviously. She's a fantastic actress, and she should be known for her work, and she is known for her works. And she should be more recognized, in my opinion. She's still alive, 90 years old. She is kicking it out there. McMahon is doing the work, as she should, you know? And I think that's why that a lot of people don't know her, because she was too wild, air quotes around that, it was wild, for the time that she was in. If she was an actress in the 90s, I tell you, every film that she did would be box office hits. For sure. Because she has it all. She has it all. She has the talent, most important, she has the talent. And here's the thing, even if you're beautiful and you have no talent, nobody will watch you except for down bad people who will watch your films, okay? But most people want to see beautiful people with talent. Like, we love beautiful people with talent. I do. I love to watch beautiful people with talent, which is why I love to watch Shirley MacLaine, because she embodies it all. And she does a fantastic job at it, you know? A lot of the times when we get these films, especially in this time, they really love to have the naive girl next door with the more experienced guy who can show her the way. And I'm just like, no, that's not reality, right? It's like, okay, let me tell you, just one thing, right? I have more college experience than he did. You could say I had more life experience than he did because I've done more, right? Traveled more, been through more, whatever. Did that obviously didn't work out. Anyway, but did that mean that I was undesirable because I did more? No, we just didn't mesh. It was mutual, you know? It was just like personality clashes. Not because I was more educated than him, but simply because our personalities didn't match, and it was just how it is, you know. So the whole girl next door who hasn't experienced anything is really annoying for me, and which is why I like this film, because she's not a girl next door. That's how she starts out. She starts out as the girl next door whose mom just wants her to marry up, who doesn't really want to marry up. So she rebels against what society has always placed on her, right? Because if this film was just based around this first section, and we followed her, Louisa May Foster, before she got married to any of the other guys, right? she would have been like the, here's the plot. Let me write it down. Write this down. You can become a best-selling author. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was not a snub at a certain author who just had a movie with a certain person in it who filed a lawsuit. That was not a snub. Okay, don't take that as a snub. It wasn't a snub. Anyway, Louisa May Foster, the girl next door, beautiful in town. She doesn't know she's the most beautiful in town, but she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She wants the simple life, but the rich guy who's traveled the world and done all the things, whose family owns the business, he wants her and he wants her to experience the wonders of life. And the movie goes blah, 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 blah. Conflict, other love interests. She decides she is in love with the Crowley dude. They get married and they live happily ever after. She never leaves town. That would have been the movie. And that would have probably sold a lot of money. Made a lot of money. That would have sold a lot of money? Man, I can't think today. Anyway, this movie is a phenomenal representation of what a good parody is. It's a great representation of what makes a great parody. And it also is a great representation of what people are willing to watch and what pushes the boundaries in the time. I think that this movie was ahead of its time, honestly. If they remade this movie today with fantastic actors and actresses from our time, right? And didn't try to switch up the plot and didn't try to destroy the characters that have already been written and who have their life breathed into them, right? If they tried to remake it as an imitation, right? They wanted to reflect. They wanted to be a replica of what it is, just with different actors. I think they could do a really good job because there's a lot of talented actors out there. I'm not even going to name anyone I'm thinking of who could do a great job. If they were inspired by it, I think they can also do a really good job because it's such a free plot. It has it has a lot of loopholes that you can like, oh, but what if we change something a little here? What if we took this person out? What if we, all of the things that this movie has can be built upon, and it can become its own franchise, honestly. And I'm glad it didn't because obviously it wasn't well received at the time. And people don't really know about it now, even though it did become a little bit more famous because of Sabrina and because it kind of blew up on Instagram and TikTok because people were talking about the costumes, but that just might have been on my side because I get a lot of like Instagram stuff. Not Instagram stuff, fashion stuff on my feed. So, final thoughts. To finish this, we were given a movie that went against the status quo of the girl next door saga, or can't even think of the word because obviously I still can't think of the word of the girl next door like idea that keeps being presented to us basically during this time. It was counter culture almost to what we would normally be presented with all the films in this time, and it didn't really pick up because most people don't really like to watch stuff they're not comfortable with, and a lot of people probably weren't comfortable with this because it was completely different. But I think that as it ages, it just gets better because we look at it and we think about it and we're like, oh wow, this was really far out for what we were watching. Like they had a almost nude scene. They had there's a few scenes in it, go watch it, that would have been really, really, really far out for a film of that time because private stuff was private, and you didn't bring that to public, you know. Even though it was happening, you didn't bring that to public, and this film did that. And I think it did a fantastic job of doing that. So, if I was to give this film a rating out of 10, I would obviously give it a 9. I think that at some parts it got a little drawn out, and they could have cut it. But I also think that a lot of it's made up for with the costume choices, with the comedy, everything. Fantastic film. It's been a long day. I did not keep this as short as I wanted to, but I think it'll probably end up shorter after I edit, which that won't be in. But anyway, hope you're doing good. I actually have a lot of stuff I have to do. Yeah. I'm gonna have to record early for the next couple of things because I have a lot of life happening, you know, and I just want to be like schedule and move on, you know, and when it gets to a new month, I'll be like, yep, good. So anyway, that was What a Way to Go, and this was me, and it was nice talking to you. Yeah, I know I lost my train of thought a lot of the times, and my notes didn't really keep me on track. I just couldn't think of the words that I was looking for. Anyway, it was lovely speaking with you again. Stop back by whenever you can. I need to warm my tea back up. Bye. Love you, bye. You need to get off your phone. You've been on your phone too much, okay? Get off your phone. This video was long. Bye.